if we look at the space race, the Russians put the first satellite into orbit, Sputnik 1, and we had the dog that went up there. What's his name? Lanka or something. I can't remember the dog's name now offhand.
It was a dog.
But they were the first one to put an animal in space.
Yeah. And first human.
And the first human, Yuri Gagarin, the cosmonaut, into space. And
it was kind of like a wake-up call for the US.
And then they did have their own moon landing space program. So obviously they went on to do the first actual moon landing with a robotic device on the moon's surface. So when you're talking about the space race, Russia was way out in front.
Yeah.
Now your problem is all this is happening in a period known as the Cold War.
Yes.
And tensions were high all the time. And if you're America, what the political leaders as well as the general public, I mean, how are you going to feel if there is your mortal enemies at the time could put something into orbit and literally rain bombs down on you and there's nothing you can do about it?
Or indeed on the moon.
So it's about superiority in space. You know, if you've got superiority in space above any other country, then you're sitting there and you're a sitting duck.
Yeah, that kind of drips into the whole political thing as well, doesn't it? Saying
So I guess
the bragging rights.
Exactly. So suddenly you have this. We've got to do something. We've got to do something to prove that the USA
isn't helpless. We do have a degree of security.
We can beat Russia and win the space race. And if we're going to do that, we're going to do it by putting a manned mission on the moon.
Yeah, lay down the gauntlet.
And the president, what did he say? He said, we're not doing it because it's easy. We're doing it because it's hard.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy.
That's it. We're doing it because it's hard. And if they manage to do that, then America worldwide would be seen as to win the space race and the bolster the general public's support for the government and USA, type of thing. So, political. And I think at the time, if I'm right, NASA's budget that they were given by the US government was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to today, where it's way low down on the... on
footballers get paid more.
Footballers probably do get paid more weekly. But, that was... We must get to the moon.
Yeah.
So your question... Does that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah, that kind of poses another question that I've just thought.
But what I will finish that one off by saying, in my opinion, did they win the space race? I mean, let's face it, as we just spilled off, Russia, first satellite, first animal, first human, first moon landing. They finished the race, but I don't know if they.
It's kind of like that
race.
one-upmanship, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose in the Western world, we're always taught that the Americans are the kind of heroes of the space race. But
and that.
So I personally didn't know till before this that Russia were so far ahead and how much they'd actually done.
They were having their manned missions to land on the moon, but they had disastrous accidents and consequences, and that's why it ended up being shelved.
It was very experimental at the time, wasn't it?